Hi, I'm Sandy Delahanty, and I'm a painter in watercolor and oils. This is one of my silly giraffes. I started this series about, 3.5, 4 years ago now. It all started because I was kind of mad and depressed at all the horrible news, all the gun violence and the terrorist attacks. It seems like every time you turn on the TV or turn on the radio or open your computer, it's nothing but bad news. So I decided to start a series of painting that would be an antidote to all the bad news. Paintings that would make you smile or giggle or laugh out loud. So I was searching around for subject matter that would have that effect on people, and giraffes came to mind. I had been to Africa, I had watched them in the wild, I love going down to the Sacramento Zoo. So you can go up on the deck and suddenly you're eye to eye with these 18 feet tall creatures. And they allow children to feed them. So I stay there and I put my camera on continuous shoot, so it's just going and as the giraffes eat, they move their tongues around and they make these really funny, hysterical expressions as they move their tongues around. There's one up here, I called it tongue-tied because he kind of had his tongue in the side of his mouth, and it just made me laugh. So I take tons of pictures and then I bring them home and I download them into the computer and I set it as a slideshow. And on any given trip, I'll have 300-400 photographs. And as they go by as a slideshow, if one of them cracks me up, bing, I hit the button, that's a source for a painting. Also expanded into a few ostriches and some silly dogs and cats, but mostly the paintings are giraffes, just because you can't help but smile when you see one. If you add ice cream or balloons, makes it even more fun. But just the giraffes themselves are silly enough. They do the trick. The first one that started it all was this one. She got titled Tongue-Tied. She now appears in this book. She was chosen as a winner in Splash 16. The original was actually a watercolor. This one happens to be a print of the original. My husband won't let me sell the original. He has it. But anyway, she got in a book, and then from there, Southwest Art Magazine did an article about wildlife painters, and there she is again. And I was just notified that she's going to be in another book, which is going to be a collection of masters' works on animals. So she's making her way around. But this was just as she was looking at me right there in the zoo. I didn't add anything. She was just too cute. The background is meant to be kind of an abstract of leaves, like tree leaves, whatever. But that started it all, this one. Of the ostriches is the most recent one that's here. There's a couple others out in some galleries that are more recent than that. But the ostrich is the one that's the most recent. And I'm working on one back here. This is going to be named Carmen, and she's going to have a rose in her teeth. I haven't drawn the rose in yet, but she'll have a rose in her teeth. I think that's Carmen will be a good name for her. Even though my goal with the paintings is to give joy to the viewers, I have to get these portraits right. So they all have their own personalities. They have their, you can't get, the eyes have to be where they are. They have to be where the shapes they are. And in order to bring out the humor in the piece, you need to capture the personality. So they're like painting a portrait. Every bit as difficult as painting a portrait of a person. That's the biggest challenge. I just love the fact that it makes people laugh and makes people, brings the joy out in our lives. I've had wonderful stories told to me by people who purchased them. The very first sale was to a lady who bought the painting so she could hang it over her coffee machine, so that in the morning when she came down the stairs all grumpy and looking towards her coffee, and she went like this, and she was making like a zombie to the coffee machine, she would look up, see the giraffe, and burst out laughing. That was the reason that she purchased the giraffe. And that was a great story. That was exactly what I want to do. But when you hear the person who's put out their hard-earned money for what you've created, and they tell you why they love it and what it means to them, that's the best. Can't have anything more wonderful than that.